Hey there you, and welcome to a gigantic ELDAR war host, which today are going to be storming a highly defended fortress wall, which is currently defended by 3 Space Marine chapters: the Soul Drinkers, the Ultramarines, and of course some good old Blood Ravens. Will the war host of all 3 be successful, or will Bolter Fire clear all in its path? Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one way to find out. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off today's meat grinder. This is going to be a tough old fight here for the ELDAR, having to storm into all this bolter fire already. You can just see it is being laid down into the horde thick and fast. However, the loss is surprisingly light for the amount of bolter fire. That's the ELDAR agility there coming into play as they close that gap onto the Marines. You can see though that there is quite a lot of ELDAR here today, just shy of 1 million in fact, which, you know, for the ELDAR, that's a heck of a lot. But we're also fielding a stupendous amount of Space Marines. There's about 10,000 Space Marines here in total, so we're sort of doing a 30k style inspired battle here today, where we just have Master Marines on the field, and the good old ELDAR hit their let's just say previous force multipliers that they used to have back in the 30k era, which is, you know, significantly less now in the 40k era. You know what, that's one thing I don't know yet. Have the ELDAR actually found a way to start reproducing yet, or is that still not a thing in the latest editions of 40k? That's one thing I never kept up on, because that was a critical feature of the ELDAR. It's why they were so good in combat. It's because every single loss was just an eternity of combat experience that was lost, with some of these guys being, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 years old. That's a lot of combat experience. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they ever do find a way to start creating numbers again. At the moment, though, they are assaulting the front lines of our fortress here. And down come the Blood Ravens, the assault infantry, with chainsaws in hand. Look at this, the Wraith Walkers here on the front line, kicking the Marines about the place, as bolter fire just rains down supreme here. That's a brutal front line. The Marines are holding well for now, though. That's a big, thick wedge of assault Marines that are moving forward here. But that's also a lot of Wraith Walkers coming in. That's a high concentration of Wraith Walkers coming into a central point of the line there. Hopefully some of that bolter fire will help to clear them out. But at the moment, the ELDAR are struggling against the Marines. The Marine superior armor here and combat training is coming into full effect. Yeah, I actually think it's a fairly even match between a Space Marine and an ELDAR. Realistically speaking, the ELDAR have got a hell of a lot of combat experience on their side. But, you know, the Space Marines have got vigorous training and mechanically enhanced and genetically enhanced bodies. So yeah, I'd call that an even fight. I certainly wouldn't like to go up against an ELDAR. Look how many of them are just trying to get into this breach. There's so many. All that bolter fire is just raining down on the horde as they try to get in here. You can see a couple of Space Marines are getting tossed around. Oh my dude, he's still alive, but not for long. Surrounded here by power swords. Now we have got ELDAR Guardians moving up, providing some covering fire here, trying to take out a couple of the Marines on the walls to lessen that bolter fire. And you can see they're highly concentrated at the moment on these 2 groups. It looks like actually they've managed to take out most of the Soul Drinkers now. The ELDAR Guardians here focusing fire, at least on the first ranks, and it looks like they're trying to clear out this little step formation here too. Now we have got a couple of Dreadnoughts with assault cannons on the top over here, and they're going to be laying down heavy amounts of firepower directly down into the ELDAR lines like that. Oh, that was a beautiful shot. This guy, not so much. He decided he didn't like that bit of concrete, but you know, there we go. Another beautiful stream of hot molten lead being fired at the enemy there. Got more Space Marines trying to move up to that front line, but it's looking a little bit thin on this side. The Marines, while still pushing forward, are taking heavy losses now. We've almost lost 3,000 Marines in the process so far. The front line is so brutal down here. The chainsaws are just revving up, trying to take out these Wraith Walkers before they can get close, because my god, them spears look deadly. Like I said, it's such a shame that units can't have dual animations in this game and use 2 different weapons. Because I'd love to be able to have them using their lances on their shoulders here. Oh, we're starting to get a goo patch appearing behind the Marines here. Look at all that bolter fire. Oh my god, there's so much. Now, I think there was either 1,000 or 2,000 Wraith Walkers here. I can't remember exactly, but there's quite a few. Look at that Eldar War Horde. Oh my god, that's a lot. That's a terrifying sight for the Marines, but they are dug in pretty heavy. So, especially as we start getting to the rear end of the defense here, you can see that we've just got waves of Marines, getting my words mixed up. We've got waves of Marines here waiting to get to that front line. At the moment, the Ultramarines are sort of holding them in place. But as one by one, as the Ultramarines start to die, they will create a pathway, allowing the next wave of assault troops to go forward. Though, look at this, we've got a nice flow of reinforcements at the moment coming into this position. That's allowing that bolter fire to rain down into the tops of the heads of the Eldar here for a little bit longer. Space Marines still pushing forward. Some of them here going absolute crazy mode and jumping into the center of the enemies. And they're not surviving long, unfortunately, amongst all them howling banshees. Now, look at this. The Wraith Lords appear to be mainly cleared off the field on this left-hand side. The right-hand side still got a bunch of them waiting to get there. However, this could be interesting because what the Wraith Lords do have is a wide unit base, which means that units can't like really pass past them too well. So you'll notice here, look, a lot of units get stuck around the base of them. So once they're out of the way, technically it should be easier for the Eldar to start searching forward. Oh my god, that is a thin Space Marine line now. It's literally one Space Marine deep, and the Eldar are starting to break through. The reinforcements for the Space Marines coming down the ramp as fast as they can, but I don't know if they're going to get there in time. The Eldar now picking off at the Space Marines at the edge of the breakthrough, encircling them one by one. Them Executioner Spears coming in clutch, using the range of them to try and poke holes through that cement armor. And look at that, the Space Marine taking down hundreds and hundreds of Eldar with him, but ultimately they are falling here at the base of the ramp. Now, like I said, we have got a stream of more of them coming in. But it's weird because in this game they're sort of slow moving, which is, they're not like that until they get shot at. And when they get shot at, for some reason they move slower. The lore excuse that we're going to use here is it's simply the fact that they're under the weight of fire. It's slowing them down. That is it. That's what we're going to go with. Look at all these Wraith Lords over here, though, now. They're actually pushing up over the second lift. They've broken through that front line. And they are starting to assert their dominance here on the ramps. Now, it doesn't look like there's any troops left to clear out on that side. They are going to be able to get to the Soul Drinkers at the center here, who are the last few remaining Soul Drinkers on the field, I think, at this point. Oh, we've got another little group over that side there, but yeah, this is pretty much all the Soul Drinkers that are left here. Don't feel too sorry for them, though. They did turn traitor eventually. Yeah, look at that. The bolter fire here. The AoE shrapnel rounds just exploding, shredding Eldar armor left, right, and center. The losses are mounting rapidly here now for the Eldar. 100,000, but it's not a lot, let's face it. The Space Marines cannot afford to keep that sort of kill rate going at the moment. They need to improve that rapido. Now, that might change, because we are about to get to the Ultramarines. Now, the Soul Drinkers fire slightly different bolt rounds to the rest of them here. So these guys should be slightly more effective than the Soul Drinkers. But yeah, you can notice a difference. Look at the bolter fire coming from that side, and look at the colour of the fire coming from these Soul Drinkers. So it's different ammunition types, so the Soul Drinkers are really good against unarmoured units, like waves of zombies, stuff like that. They're absolutely excellent against them. But as soon as the enemies become a little bit more armoured, the Soul Drinkers, that's where they start to falter. However, the Ultramarine veterans here and the Blood Ravens have no such problem. Because again, they're using them airburst rounds here. able to detonate and cause miniature explosions, just rendering hot shrapnel across the battlefield. That's if the shot misses, of course. If it hits the Eldar, well, that's an even worse day for the Eldar. A gigantic hole has just punched right through that armor. And no, it's not a howling banshee, it's a windy banshee. Actually, I don't know. Can you? I don't think you can get male howling banshees, can you? That's not a thing, is it? I'm not quite sure on that. But I think, yeah, I can't remember ever seeing a male howling banshee, so I'm pretty confident that I can say that they're all females. I mean, I don't think you can be a male banshee, per se, like in the strictest terms of what a banshee means. It is typically a woman when you refer to a banshee. My god, look at this. They're all actually breaking through this ramp section now. That firepower coming up from the Guardians in the back line. Look at this as well. Just the range that the Eldar have is ridiculous, man. They're able to sit back here. Now, the bolt guns can actually shoot as far as these Eldar guns. The problem is that the bolt guns have got other priorities to deal with right now. They can't, well, let up the shots here. Otherwise, they'll just get completely overwhelmed. And you can see the Eldar are swarming forward regardless of that. The Ultramarine veterans here trying the damnedest to hold off. But that is a lot of Banshees that are coming in at the moment. Now, like I said, though, as the Ultramarines start to die, it is going to release the wave of what you call them? Assault Marines. That was the name I was looking for. It's going to release the wave of Assault Marines that is just behind them. So it's not all over yet. Should the Banshees manage to get close enough? Damn. No wonder. I wonder why they've been struggling more on this side, because the firepower looks quite evenly matched, really. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the Eldar have gained more ground on this side quicker than the other side. Though, I've got to say, the Soul Drinkers over this side are putting up a really good resistance, and I think it's because they're just trickling in these Assault Marines at the moment, which are distracting the Eldar enough to allow them Soul Drinkers to lay in that firepower. Hot damn, it is insane over this side of the field. The Eldar surging forward here, pumping it en masse to try and break the Space Marine line. And there we go with the Jump Jet Infantry now getting to the front line, halting that advance ever so slightly, allowing the firepower to start concentrating. And the bodies are building up on the rampart here. Oh, the Eldar are taking such heavy losses now. The Eldar have killed oh, that was weird. When I looked, they've killed 5,555. Then we've got 4,000 troops remaining. Now, for 5,000, we've killed 250,000 almost. So these last guys here on this last part of the defense have got to pull something amazing out of the bag. And you know what? At the moment, they're holding this section of the ramp really nicely. The Eldar, though, are starting to break through ever so slightly at this point. Again, running out of them Assault Marines on the front line. The Assault Marines are such a good distraction. They have really high health pools in this game and really good melee block chance. So they can just survive on the front line, and they've got a fairly decent cleave attack on them as well with them chainswords. Easily being able to take out, if there were zombies, 100 zombies per swing. It is pretty crazy. Just imagine them spinning around on the spot with that jump jet. That's what I'd do. I'd just fire up one of the retros on the jump jet and just hover in place and spin round. Just hold your sword out. Just become a Space Marine meat blender. I think that'd work quite well, to be honest, until you got shot. You know, until that big steamy hot plasma ball comes in and ruins your day. Again, look at this. The last of the Soul Drinkers here. Really putting up a decent fight on the front line. And what they're actually doing is distracting a lot of firepower from the Eldar Guardians at the moment, who are still trying to shoot at these guys on the back line. But look, the bullets are sort of hitting the wall and not the actual guys themselves. They're starting to get overwhelmed, sadly, now. Now that they've been put on show a couple of times, it is time to collapse the gap. Oh god, I didn't even notice yet. They've been having to hold two sides here. And that's probably why this other side's collapsed now. We had to deal a lot of Space Marines over this side. And ultimately, the Eldar are capturing the first step in its entirety there. Which is unfortunate for the Space Marines, to say the least. 700,000 Eldar left. But you know what? They have really been struggling, once again, to push across this side. And the body pile at the top of the ramp is really starting to get quite significant now. All this is going to fill up with the goo of the Eldar. As you can already see, it is over here. It's not quite deep yet. It's basically just tickling your feet at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, we've got lots of Space Marines here making their way forward. Chainsaws ready to meet the Eldar War Host, which is just looking insane at the foot of these ramps here. Again, the firepower coming out of the Bloodraven lines is pretty significant. They are able to deal massive amounts of damage here from their high vantage points. And again, a couple of Ultramarines up here as well as a lot of the more jump jet infantry. But the Eldar are pushing ahead. Look at this, almost completely capturing the second ramp now. The Ultramarine squads on this side put up a decent fight, but it has not been enough. Now we really need to start dealing with these Eldar Guardians, because they're just laying down so much covering fire into our poor old Space Marines here. Assault Marines, though, doing their job once again, holding that front line, trying to keep back the horde. Oh, okay, they're attacking the final ramp now. It's time for the blood at Ravens here to start shining. Who knows, maybe they'll find a relic in amongst the enemies here that they'll be able to steal. I just love all that bolt of fire though. Look at the crossfire that the Eldar are running into here. It's coming from 3 different sides almost. 3 different angles at least. We've got the guys up here, the guys up there, and these ones over here. How are we doing on the other side, chaps? Are we still holding? Yes, that's it. Keep letting them jump jet infantry through. Oh my god, they might actually start pushing back here. Look at that. A solid defensive line here by the Space Marines. And the Eldar have been stopped in their tracks at the moment. Oh, a little breakthrough there. Come on, get a few more infantry up. You can do this, Space Marines. You've only got 2,000 left, but I believe in you. The Eldar are really going to get funneled into this position now. Because that's the thing with this last ramp. Yeah, there's only a couple of Space Marines here, 3,000 Space Marines, but the Eldar are being funneled into a much narrower gap now. It's basically half of what they had previously. In fact, I think it's a little less than half, yeah. It's just under half. It's about a third, maybe even less than a third of what they had. Not quite a quarter, though. Yeah, look, brilliant Space Marine action on the front line there with the Assault Marines. Holding the enemy in place, and that concentrated firepower now really taking effect on the Eldar. They are taking a lot of losses trying to push there. Again, though, they are making ground bit by bit. Although they're about to unleash the beast here. There is a lot of Assault Marines all gathered at the back end of the Ultramarines on this side. And they're about to be unleashed by the Eldar. Now, these guys might actually be able to start pushing forward with this high concentrated number here. And I think they actually are. Oh, poor old Eldar. They're not going to know what's hit them here. That's some insane overlapping firepower, guys. And again, we've still got a couple of veterans left at the back line. That's kind of impressive. I think at this point, all the Wraith Walkers now have been completely eradicated from the battlefield, which is pretty good news, actually, for the Space Marines. Well, oh my days. Yeah, look, the Eldar are still taking effect here, though. They are slicing their way through the jump jet infantry. It was a good hold. It was a good hold, lads, but it's all for naught by the looks of it. They're still getting through here. How are we doing on the other side, chaps? Yeah, the bodies are really building up. Oh my god. It is so costly for the Eldar to push through this last part. The Space Marines now coming up to 420,000 kills. with 2,000 left on the field. I'm a little bit worried for the Space Marines here. A little bit. Again, though, they do have that defensive advantage, because each time the Eldar go up one of these ramps, it just gets narrower. So you can see this is like a quarter of the previous ramp here. So yeah, they really do get funneled in by the end of it, which might be good for the Space Marines. We'll have to wait and see here. But this has been a costly push now for the Eldar. They're almost at a halfway mark for total forces remaining. And if this side's anything to go by, then yeah, they're going to take a lot more losses before they get to the peak of this now. But this is going to be a slow, methodical grind here by the Eldar. So what we're going to do, we're going to find a little angle here. We'll probably keep an eye on this side, because it looks like it's advancing slightly faster than the other. So what we'll do, hit a little time-lapse camera and see if the Eldar can start getting their way up this ramp. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, where you can see things haven't been going too well for our Eldar friends here. The corpses have been piling up high at the base of these ramparts. Again, these narrow areas not allowing the war host here to use its numbers to the full advantage, and meanwhile, they're in this horrible crossfire of bolters. Let's go have a look at the other side, see how they're doing over here. Oh my days, okay. Yeah, they've been doing even worse over this side. Look at this. They've barely even pushed it through at all. The Space Marines are actually at risk of drowning over here. And little Timmy, get out your rubber dinghy. Fun for the entire family. Look at that. A magnificent little gulag here has now formed. And it is made entirely out of Eldar quartz. Oh my god. Okay, that's kind of impressive. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of see how we were getting on here. Now, these last 1,700 Space Marines have really been putting in the work here. They've killed about 200,000 Eldar all by themselves so far, and they're still holding this ground firm. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this side. Absolutely amazed that the Eldar have not been able to get onto the ramp area at all over here. So yeah, I wonder what's different over this side, comparative to the other, where the Eldar have just struggled so much more on this side to make any sort of gains here. Okay. I think I noticed what the difference is suddenly. Yeah, on this side of the field, the Eldar Guardians are all over this side of the field, and at the moment, by some miracle, they're trying to shoot these guys up here, which means that, yeah, they're not really focusing on the defense at all. As soon as they really start focusing on the Space Marine defense, that could be over for the Space Marines here. So let's just hope that the Space Marines are able to churn their way through all these Howling Banshees before these guys manage to kill the remaining Space Marines on the ledge here. But yeah, we are going to have to go back to a time-lapse, because it is just this brutal, slow fight at the moment where the Eldar are just trying to push forward. Now, I don't know which side we should keep an eye on. I think we should keep an eye on this side, because it looks like this is the one where the Eldar are going to break through. Over here, it just looks like they're going to build up corpses, and as nice as that would be to watch, yeah, I want to see what actually happens if they break through, because look at this. We've got a massive block of assault marines at the top here, ready and waiting to see what happens. Now, let's get ourselves a nice little camera angle here, where we can see what's actually not there. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to go back down here. But I sort of want to see the Eldar Horde. Oh my god, I keep clipping into the wall behind us and it keeps sending us up. But yeah, I sort of want to see the Eldar Horde as well, so I don't know. Let's try going this corner. Go up a little bit. No, too far. There we go. We'll go here. This way we'll at least be able to see the horde in the background and them actually trying to get up the ramp. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, where it is a sad, sad day for the Eldar and AI pathing in general here. As the Eldar have been absolutely smished against the corners here, not able to use their full force. The body piles are just getting absolutely gigantic now. These guys over here still haven't managed to shoot their way through the wall. It's just ridiculous now at this point. Look at this as well. There's barely any Eldar left on this side of the field. They're trying to push up here. They can't even shoot the Marines anymore. Oh my god. What has even happened here? This is ridiculous now. Look how deep this is. The Space Marine. Wow, there's actually Eldar at the bottom of this trying to path through it. This is insanity, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute pure insanity now. The Space Marines, with 2,000 units, have managed to hold off against 500,000 Eldar so far. This is just stupendous. And look how many there is left. They've still got to go up these ramps and everything, yeah? We've still got Assault Marines at the top. We've still got this massive group of Assault Marines here who've yet to get to the front line. But you might have noticed during the time-lapse every now and then we kept getting a couple of Assault Marines on the front. And it's just ridiculous, quite frankly. We're coming down to 100,000 Eldar left. These guys are still trying to shoot through the wall, which is, again, really silly. These guys have just been leveling into the side of that horde for the entire fight here. We've even got a Dreadnought here. Oh my god. It's a melee variant, though, so he's not been able to do much, but yeah. I think we're just going to time-lapse the last of this out, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to stay on this side of the field. Watch these last lot enter the meat grinder over here. Yeah, because I want to see this. I want to see this pool grow before this is out. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit ridiculous now. The Eldar are down to 34,000 troops left on the field. Look at this. Just this monumental body pile here now. This is all that remains of the ELDAR war host. It's in tatters. The field is littered with bodies. You can't even see the Space Marines underneath the amount of dead Eldar now. Look, even the what do you call them here? The Guardians have had to move all the way up now to almost point-blank range, and they still haven't pushed around this corner yet. What they have done is freed up a lot of the Assault Marines here, though, to be able to push on through and down into the attacking horde. I mean, it's kind of incredible, actually, that these few Space Marines here, there was, like I said, about 2,000, maybe 3,000 of them in total, managed to hold out against some 500,000 Eldar, just because of the narrow ramp here, which really choked out the Eldar's attack force's numbers. I mean, on this side, they had no excuse. I mean, this is just ridiculous. The fact that we managed to build this gigantic blood lake. Let's see how deep this actually is now. Okay, yeah, that's fairly deep here. I love how the bolt of fire just comes straight on through it as well. But yeah, I think this is GG here for the Eldar. They've only got, what, 29,000 left here on the field, and this is pretty much all these guys here. It's all of these chaps who are trying to get up to this tiny little ridge area where the Assault Marines are now actually pushing forward. Oh my god, they're actively pushing forward. Okay, so, yeah, we'll do one last time-lapse here, ladies and gents. We're going to get the final kill counter. You know what? Let's watch the Space Marines push down the hill here. Yeah, that should be a nice enough view. Right, we'll be back in a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark here on my recording, and there's 2,000 Eldar left on the field, with 1,100 Space Marines left. I seem to remember not so long ago saying there was 1,700, so yeah, the Space Marines have hardly lost anything in this fight here, but unfortunately I'm going to wrap this one up here, because I am running out of hard drive space here, and the rest of it is just going to be a time-lapse of them all dying. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I do hope you've had a blast. I know I have. Please do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace.